Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me today on Rising Stories podcast. I have a great guest today as part of our season 4, where we are highlighting the women who run Lean In circles and networks across the globe. They are leaders who are using their talents to empower women. Today, my guest is Daniela Felletti. She is a diversity and inclusion leader and global recruiter, as well as a Lean In Bordeaux regional leader in France. But before we get started, I wanted to mention that today's podcast is sponsored by Amazon. Rising Stories podcast is an Amazon affiliate, so when you make a purchase after following one of our links in the show notes, this podcast receives a small commission, which we use to keep Rising Stories podcast up and running. This is at no additional cost to you. So please go and visit our storefront. I'll put the link below in the show notes and see great items mentioned on this show and all the other shows mentioned by other amazing guests. So click on the link and support this podcast. Thanks so much in advance. And here is my conversation with Daniela. Hey, Daniela, thanks for coming on today.
Hi, Corine. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited because I know you and we've met several times, but I am just so curious and want to know all about who you are and how you started Lean In Bordeaux in France. And I'm curious to know, how did you end up starting a Lean In circle in France? How did that happen? Are you from France?
No, in fact, I'm Brazilian.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, and I'm Brazilian. I have Italian roots. That's why I'm in Europe, actually. And after living in Italy, England, I moved to Spain, actually. I lived in Madrid for 3 years and a half. And it was when I was actually living in Madrid that I discovered the Lean In movement, and I read the book, and I had my first experience in peer support. I was actually in a very complicated situation in a company I was working. I was suffering mobbing, and I needed inspiration, and I started reading and educating myself. Basically, reading the book, it was a surprise for me. I wasn't expecting what I got. I was just, it blew my mind to think that, wow, this woman, Cheryl, with this power, we have similar feelings. What's going on, right? So it actually woke up my perception to myself and how I see also other women. And I joined my first circle there. Carolina Patoki was the leader. It was a very small group, like 6 women meeting like regularly, and it gave me so much power and sense of control of my own life professionally. I was feeling before undervalued, like really not in my shoes, and they helped me actually in the decision making to change my life. And then I moved to Bordeaux. I was just like feeling I need it for life. I have to find a Lean In circle here. I couldn't find it. It didn't exist because the movement, the book was not really well known here. And I just created it. My French was really bad at the moment. It was kind of intermediate, but I actually, okay, I will try anyway. It was complicated because people didn't read the book. I tried like meetup, and it created like confusion of what is the movement. So I passed 1 year and a half explaining what is the Lean In movement, what we are here to do together. And then suddenly I lost my father. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. It was in the first year and a half of my circle. Mm-hmm. And at this moment, I was kind of, well, I can't help anyone. I can't continue doing anything. I lost all my strength. And what happens is my community, all the woman who was actually following me in this movement, they became my pillar. In the meantime, I also had a breakup relationship like 6 months after. So I had like really hard year. Yeah, it was really complicated. And they were there for me. And I was like,
Wow.
wow, there is something strong here that I
A
actually need.
bond.
Yes. So I decided to really nurture it. And I found as well the option B movement, which is
Mm-hmm.
the movement created by Sherry. I combined both of them in my life. It helped me build my resilience and understand my loss and my purpose. And leaning became a purpose actually at this moment. I was needing this to actually keep going. And then I immersed myself. I was really dedicating 100% of my life in leaning. It was 2017. And it actually started growing and having more a powerful message, more people engaging and committed and interested in helping. And naturally, it happened. But yes, it was still reshaping. I reshaped it so many times because it's a different culture. They are not used to circle support. They are not used to this peer mastermind kind of a mentality. So it's a new thing to, insert in a new culture that I didn't really know that much. A big challenge, but very interesting. And they actually forced me improving my French because I had to translate material.
Wow. I don't know how you did that. That's crazy. Wow. That you had to do all that. You know, I I love that you brought up option B, because I almost think that sometimes, well, in your situation, it kind of went hand in hand, right? The lean in and option B with the passing of your dad and the breakup. And I feel like option B, everyone can relate to it. Just there's always something going on in people's lives, either a death or a setback or a situation or a loss. And even I know that Cheryl talked to us right after we were all quarantined and saying that we're now all in, we all have this option B now because it isn't going as we planned. And so I think that's amazing that you were able it's interesting because you sowed the seed of having the circle, and then that circle helped you, which was great. And when you got stronger, then you could give back. And that's a beautiful picture of a beautiful circle community, and why we do this, why we do lean in circles across the globe, because it's we do need each other. And especially now, I know we've been doing a lot of Zoom calls and a lot of Zoom circle meetups so that we can continue. We found that we still need that interaction, beyond the people that we're quarantined with. So yeah. I love it. Yeah. Have you been continuing to meet since this quarantine happened?
Yes, virtually. Actually, during the March, April, and May, we launched the Solidarity Initiative, where we actually allied with Leaning de Savoie, it's another network, and Leaning France, to organize workshops, conference to help the community. And we had over, I think, 60 speakers and around 210 participants. And it was really amazing, solidaire, and people helped out, and they felt more, that they had something to rely on to help them out in their lives. In this moment, we had coaching sessions from many kind of talents that we have inside this community, right? So, and they offered that to us. So it was amazing. And I don't know if you know, but I'm a regional leader since a year and a half ago. And I have a team here. So with my team, I have 7 amazing women working together and very dedicated to this, to create this impact. And they were really my total pillar to do this together.
Great support. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the women of Lean in Bordeaux. How how are they, what are their needs professionally and everything else emotionally, and that might be different from, my America. Obviously, I have a large American audience. And so I know that they're curious as to how are they different, maybe how are they similar?
Well, I believe there is always much more similarity than difference. The story are many women getting pregnant and not getting promoted and losing their jobs, or actually feeling like they are not made to a career and then just leaving. Some of them had hard time to get back on track, and then they created their own business because companies were not really ready to receive them. The area where we live, it's still very, very complicated, biased,
Really?
and
Against women?
conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a kind of colorblind, like a state of mind. We don't discriminate people, so it's not really open. But France actually launched last year the index calculation that they are requesting companies to actually publish their salary gaps. And
Interesting.
they will have actually 3 years to balance it since the
Wow.
moment. So it created a more conversation about that, but still I don't see the real inclusion program inside to create this actually actions to make a woman more present, to make them actually get promoted. Like it's for now, it's only about numbers. So if you have a company which we have only one woman in the board,
Yeah.
it's still a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great that there's some attention and some things happening in the work. So hopefully it will balance out. Same here, in America,
Hopefully.
pretty much. But yeah. So tell me a little bit more about yourself professionally and what you're doing now, but where you started professionally. Did you go to college or university in Brazil, or did you attend in Italy?
Yeah, I was in Brazil, but nothing to do with what I am doing right now.
Oh,
I
wow.
studied tourism and hotel management.
Okay.
Nothing really to do.
Nothing. Yeah, we all do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. So sometimes we have a different, go a
I
different
changed it.
path.
Yeah, I changed completely my path. And coming to Europe, it was in the beginning, my parents was like, yeah, you go for a year and then you come back and you continue your, career. And I actually never went back, only for visiting. I stayed in Italy for 7 years. And what it is actually a big part that of influence in my current work, because I worked for this headhunting company there, where I learned more about headhunting and recruitment. It was an American startup, so I could see also like the development and a little bit of everything. When you are growing, it's you see the whole development of a company structure, and especially in this area. And when I came to France, actually, I was with my French a little bit limited, and I decided to start my business. Actually, I have a friend who is a headhunter, and she knew my potentials and my strengths, and that I knew the business. And she was like, I need help, and I'm launching my business, so can we work together?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, can be a very good option. And I just launched it as a headhunter. But then later, in fact, lean in influences a lot of the values I actually added into my business. Because at some point I was doing my leaning meetings and I was more happy doing that than my own work. Because headhunting, yeah, it's cool because you connect people, ideas, but you can imagine the many bias behind and what you have to actually deal with clients, companies asking for specific profiles, like actually that are not really aligned with even the law, right? Because it's discriminatory. And
so they're asking you to provide things like age and
yeah.
gender and things that are irrelevant. You know, here's their resume, here's their CV. Let's just go
Yes,
with that.
often, very often, in special age. And in many times, it's not really explicit, and it's more like you see your candidates being eliminated.
Right.
So by eliminating, you get like, okay, what's going on? Why all the women are being eliminated, right? For example, or the foreigners. And it made me really feel bad for a while, but I was still in the mindset of, yeah, but I need a client, I need money, I need to live. So since I actually implemented diversity and inclusion in every single service, I developed all other services in my business, and headhunting became inclusive headhunting. I actually do it much less, way less than before. It's no longer my main priority, but I still do it because I want to disrupt the system. Yeah. So when I work with partners or companies directly, I will actually make them aware of this bias. And I will question them why they are eliminating, but in a very, diplomatic, but also pedagogical way. Because I believe education is also the way to get their attention.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
And then I do also D&I consulting, trainings. I developed a leadership program inclusive leadership program for leaders and HR. I teach in business school now for HR masters, where I teach the inclusive recruitment and equality approach. Therefore, I am also a career advisor, but in a different way. I help leaders actually identify their inclusive approach. I apply this focus of assessment in behavioral, where I try to identify, but then also help them work on it, not to judge them, but really to prepare them into the next step as an innovation in their career, right? How we are behaving now, how we are improving your leadership skills. And this is pretty much what I've been doing in the last years.
In your years of working in this career management industry, have you had someone give you some advice? What was the best advice you've ever received? As far as like business advice, career advice?
It was actually a woman, I would say, but I saw her once and I can't remember her name. It was an Italian coach, but she wasn't my coach. It was a session, like some fair I joined. And she told me something, follow your intuition. Don't let people say what you have to do. So I was in the beginning of launching my business and deciding what I wanted to do with my work. And she said that, and I still have it in my mind. And I still need to contact her, find her again.
I love that.
Thank her.
Yes, that's a really good piece of advice. Yes. I feel like women do second guess our intuition, and we stop and know something, we feel something, we have those already, the intuition in our thoughts about the way we should go or what we should do. And I feel like we try to make sense of it when sometimes it doesn't, and we just need to go with it, you know? Like if you feel like you need to launch a new business, just do it. You know, just go for it. If that's your intuition, that's your gut feeling. So, yeah, I'm all about that. I think that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit more about your everyday life. What does that look like? A day in the life of Daniela. What happens in your life?
Wow. I work a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
I wake up very early, 7:30. Well, this is my very early. Yeah?
Uh-huh.
I try to do my yoga and get into my mind with my coffee, to read 10 minutes, to really be concentrated in what I'm going to do now. And my day is kind of working on my clients, but sometimes I take some time in my week to also advocate a lot.
Mhm.
Actually, a big part of my week. I check in with communities, I build connections, I do a lot of calls, a lot of best practice calls with many professionals in the world. Or the fact that I speak 5 languages helped me also touch many countries.
5 languages. What are they?
Yes.
English, of
Well,
course.
English, by native ones are Portuguese and Italian, and Spanish and French. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is a lot. You covered just about the whole world except for Asia.
It's still missing.
A huge part of the world, though, because a lot of
Yeah,
people, even in the continent of Africa, speak French.
true.
So, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's
Wonderful.
I love learning new language, by the way. And yes, that I pass my time as well, really learning from others and actually bringing my knowledge to them as well. It's an exchange, sharing,
Mhm.
and it helps me grow with ideas, and I help someone else. I try to mentor some other new people actually joining the diversity and inclusion professionally, because I think it's important to, when someone is so excited about it, you need to actually catch them and give them actually more excitement to really make this, because I call my work actually also a movement, because diversity and inclusion became a movement. We
Right.
are all open to talk about it. I
Hmm.
never had a no from a professional from the area. They are always open to share and talk. And it's not the same in every single sector, right?
Right.
And yeah, I pass my life doing that. And the leaning is a big part of my work as well. So now, for example, I'm organizing this open circle, very local centered, because we want to grow in a sustainable way. So next week it's happening, this online open circle, and so I divide a little bit my days with organizing my agenda on work, but then I have some interruptions because we have also to deal with our team. Sometimes there is someone who is ill, the other one is having a problem, so we need to actually to work together, who can take charge and step in and help each other. So it takes, you know what I mean, because you
Yes.
were original leader, so
Yeah.
probably.
It takes a lot. Yeah, it takes a village. And sometimes it just being the leader, you're the one that's having to cover and do a lot of the work. So
Mm-mm,
yeah, I get it. Yeah.
mm-mm.
So during these times of COVID-19 and quarantine, what we talked earlier, if you had Amazon and you were saying, yes, that's been my that's been your supplier. So how have you been during this quarantine time? How's it been for you?
Yeah, well, here the quarantine remained and stopped on June,
Okay.
actually. So at this moment, like the only supplier who would really be effective to send you things you need is Amazon. So
Wow.
any, material to my printer and books and stuff.
Yeah.
Because also because I live actually very close to Bordeaux. I moved from Bordeaux a couple of years ago, and I live on the seaside.
Oh,
In,
okay.
so it's 50 minutes from Bordeaux. It's more isolated. I don't have much stuff here around. So I really needed some supplier that I know that will actually send me the product. And of course, it wasn't easy period. It was really hard for the moment we were locked down. But
Yeah.
since June, it's better. But the problem is people was too relaxed. So
And then the numbers went up after people relaxing. Yeah.
1 week ago, it just raised it so like crazy. And but we are not confined again. We are actually only requested to use masks because it was not mandatory. It's really now mandatory in the streets.
To wear masks.
Yeah.
Just to kind of keep it down.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping your distance and etc. School are reopening because they have been closed for a while. So now they decided to reopen, but with all the measures and kids putting masks as well, wearing the masks. And but we'll see what happens this month, and hoping that things will go become better, because we were zoned green and now they say we are zoned red.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In my area, we had so many tourists. Yeah, and it's normal because for the holiday time.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. So what books are you reading? You mentioned you had gotten some books. What are you reading these days?
Usually I read 2 books in the same time. I like to also have 2 different languages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have one that's called in French is Respire. It's a brief. And the author is Maud Ankawa. It's more about something for personal development, but also relax, because there is a story. It's nice. So it helps me like before sleeping or when I am outside at the beach and I want just to disconnect. And the other one is more related to my work, which is The Infinite Game from Simon Sinek, where he talks about leadership.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah.
I
too enjoy having 2 books. Mine are, something for professional development and another one just to kind of enjoy. With the exception of the summertime, I don't read any industry or professional development books. I kind of give myself a break for a few months, and 3 months or so, June, July, August, I just read for pleasure, and I'm in a book club, so I enjoy reading lots and lots of books. I think right now I'm reading The Keeper of Lost Things. And it's a really good book. So far, so good. So
I know now who ask for.
You'll have to. Advice. Yes, I read a lot of books. Actually, I listen to them on Audible, which has been nice. It was harder when we were in quarantine to do that, because what I would normally do is when I was outside walking, jogging, hiking, I would listen to my audio book or in the car, and we did less and less of that being in quarantine. So it was harder to because I didn't really. I got a few books that I could have by my nightstand, but I like listening to it.
Fantastic. And are you still in quarantine?
No, we are not. So our area, same kind of thing. We started we did phases. So we did phase 2, which is opening up restaurants at 25% capacity. And then we moved to, phase 1 and then phase 2. And I think phase 3, we were in phase 3 and then we went backwards. Nashville proper went backwards because our numbers went up again. Yeah, people kind of got relaxed. So we went back to closing all the bars and clubs, which is what Nashville is known for. There's a lot of honky tonks, as they say. And so a lot of bars downtown with live music. So that kind of ended for now, but they're starting to come back. Yeah. So we're starting to get back and our numbers are better. Now I live right outside of the city and it's not as bad. So we just are, actually our mayor actually lifted the ban on masks.
Okay.
or left it to the stores themselves, that if they wanted to, they could still require you. And most grocery stores are still requiring, and obviously hospitals and doctors' offices are still requiring, but kind of normal, everyday people don't have to wear a mask in certain places. So that's been nice. But that's my little area of town. Nashville is a little bit different there.
Wow.
Anytime you're in public, you have to be wearing a mask. So, but
it's gonna be like this a little bit for a while.
I know.
We need to adapt our business, our lives.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I am so thrilled. Thank you so much for coming on. This was so much fun to get to know you, and I hope that we get to see each other again at the next Regional Leaders Conference, if there will be another one, and maybe who knows? Maybe I'll come see you in France.
I hope so.
We had a trip for Europe planned for this year, but obviously we can't go. But maybe in a year or so we'll be.
Oh, it'll be
your
lovely.
way. Yeah.
Like some wine tasting. Why not?
Yes, definitely.
Let me know, please.
I will. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Corine. It was really nice to talk to you.